There's a storm across the valley. The clouds are rolling in. The afternoon is heavy on your shoulders. There's a truck out on the 4-lane, a mile or more away. The whining of his wheels just makes it colder.
Community Forum is sponsored by the Easton Grange 196 and a friend of Yardley Wood Rink and the Easton Lions Club.
Welcome to Community Forum. I'm Priscilla Almquist-Olson, your host, and today is April 10th, 2024. And it gives me a great deal of pleasure to welcome back on the show Liana Gorman, who is the director and founder of the Easton Collaborative Theatre. And Liana has been very busy because in less than 2 weeks, one of her theatrical performances is happening, and she wants to invite all of you to this wonderful event. Welcome, Liana.
Thank you so much, Priscilla. Thank you for having me again. It's good to be here.
You're welcome. And just let me know a little bit. Why don't we just go back and see what was your childhood like, and did any of it have an influence on your theatrical future?
Oh, yes. I was a very dramatic child, if you ask my mother. I liked to dance in front of the mirror a lot, apparently. And I was always involved in performing in some way or another growing up. I was in dance starting when I was 3 years old. And I was in the church choir and then school choirs. And then when I got to junior high school, I started being in school performances and theater performances there. I actually was a part of this program when it used to be Easton Children's Theater when I was a kid. So I got to be a part of that. And so it's even more exciting for me to be back in a whole different capacity and passing on the passion and love for theater to the newbies.
Yeah, the newbies, right. How are the newbies treating you?
Oh, they're pretty good. They're pretty good. They're very cute, and they've been working really hard. I'm so proud of them.
So tell us, what ages are they, or grades?
Yep, so we service students grades 3 and up in Easton and a lot of surrounding towns. So we have students from all over, and my youngest right now is 8, and my oldest is 16, and we're very excited.
And let us hear a little bit about this production. Does it span all of those age groups?
It does, yes. So right now we are working on Mary Poppins Jr., and we're very excited. And one of my Mary Poppinses is 16 years old, and one of my little honeybees is 8, and we have everyone in between. So everyone's been working really hard. The kids are really excited about the show, and they've been practicing really hard, and it's going well.
Great. And where is this performance going to be held, and when?
So the performances will be held the weekend of April 26th, 27th, and 28th, and they are held at Easton Middle School.
All right. And what are the times for Friday and Saturday?
So Friday night we'll have a show at 7. Saturday we'll have a show at 2 and another one at 7, and then Sunday we'll have a show at 2.
Oh my goodness, that's 4 shows.
Yes, we have 2 casts.
Oh, you do? That's
so I have
right.
2 casts. So one cast does the Friday night and Saturday afternoon show, and the other cast does the Saturday night and Sunday afternoon show.
I see. So they all have a chance to do an afternoon show and an evening performance.
Correct.
Okay. And that's quite a undertaking to have 2 casts, and so you're having double the rehearsals.
Yes.
My goodness, wow. When did you get started with all this? I don't mean your background, you've covered that beautifully, but what about Easton Collaborative Theatre? When did that start, and where have you held the rehearsals and performances?
So back in, it was either 2018 or 2019, Mary Gray, who created and ran Easton Children's Theatre for many, many years, reached out to me. She was looking to retire, and she was hoping I could come in as a new director since I was a part of the program and I loved it so much. And it's been a huge honor. We've kind of taken off since then, and we've been doing all kinds of performances. Most of our rehearsals and performances have been at Easton Middle School so far. We get a good deal through the schools, and it's nice and convenient for some of our families coming from different places. It seems to be a little bit more of a central location, and everything has been great.
Super duper. So, and how do you like the auditorium at middle school?
Oh, it's nice. It's definitely really fun to be there as an adult. I was there as a child, and I've seen some improvements, and I've seen the technology develop, and I've seen, you know, the chairs change, and so it's been nice to see the changes and to see things progress in a positive manner.
Yeah. So I'm sure you had you helped in that a little bit, didn't you? In terms of what you might need additional improvements?
No, it wasn't really up to me. It was more what the school was doing in their programs. We just rent the space and use their wonderful facilities.
Okay, so you didn't need to make any changes at all. That's great. So what type of child do you find is interested in participating in this activity?
You know, it very much surprises me that there are many different types of children. I very much did not expect that going into this as a director. I expected it to be mostly, you know, very dramatic or very outgoing children. But there actually have been quite a few children that have come to me when they were younger as very quiet, very shy, very withdrawn, not very social, and I've seen them develop. Actually, there's one girl in particular I can think of right now that has been in my shows as long as I've been there. And she is currently Winifred Banks, the mother in Mary Poppins. And I've seen her totally come out of her shell and develop into this confident and very social and beautifully talented young woman. And I'm very impressed with her journey.
Well, it sounds to me, Liana, that you have had a part to play in this. Pardon the pun.
I hope so.
Yeah.
I hope so. I definitely do. I like to find a spot for everybody. We have kids of all different ages and all different abilities and all different, we have all kinds of diversity in our cast in many different ways, and trying to find a nice little niche for each kid and a little spot where we can play up their strengths and let them shine and let them be happy and have a safe and productive environment to develop not only theatrical skills and projection and singing skills and dancing skills, but also the social skills and the confidence and the teamwork and camaraderie that is involved in the program as well.
Yeah. So, Liana, it seems that all of those hours of work and play that you give the kids, it turns out to be a confidence builder. And so they become self-sufficient and confident and independent adults. So have you been, have any of your teenagers graduated into adulthood yet?
Yes, I've had a few graduate high school and go on to college, and I've worked with some that have even gone past college right now, kids that were on the older end when I started and helping us in different capacities, and it's been a reminder of how old I am, but it has been quite a joy to see them grow up and become functioning humans in society and seeing what amazing things they have ahead of them.
And how many of them continue in the theater once they go beyond high school?
A few, not a lot, just a few, but they still take all the lessons they learned and the friends they made, and a couple of them have told me about that. Even if they're not in theater anymore, they still look fondly on their days with us, and it really helped them in a lot of ways, which is super touching, and one of my favorite parts is hearing about that.
Yeah. And of course, it's if a child is forced to express herself or himself, and they get used to it, it doesn't become such a chore and a fear. And I can see where your program really helps children to gain confidence and become more social and outgoing and confident. So now, do some of those graduates come back and give you a helping hand when they can?
Yes, some of the students, even if they're not graduates, we had a few graduates of high school come back, but even as they've grown out of the program and moved on and been involved in high school sports or their theater programs at their high school, I do have a group of older kids that comes back and they help and they student direct or they student choreograph, they work backstage, they work the lights. Sometimes they just show up and come to the performances. I do love seeing them again.
Of course you do. They're all your children, aren't they?
Yes, they really are. I love them all very, very much.
And I'm sure that the parents see that and they know that they're in such capable hands. Do you ever hear parents come to you and say, you know, my child was very shy, or my child was afraid of speaking in public, or my child was afraid of big groups, big audiences, and now she's fearless. Does that ever happen?
That has happened actually just a couple of times. I've had parents express their gratitude to me. And it's funny because I can't see how I haven't had a hand in that, but it certainly doesn't feel like I have. I don't feel like I'm doing anything particularly extraordinary or spectacular. I'm just trying to provide a safe place for expression and for performance and development, and it seems to really be helpful to some of these kids, and it's an amazing thing to me. I still don't know. I don't know how I do it.
So, and of course it's amazing because you developed that amazement as a child yourself.
I did, yes.
And did your parents encourage you in that regard?
Yes, very much so. Both my parents were extremely supportive. My siblings and I were all somehow involved in the arts at one point or another, and my parents have always been very supportive in anything we wish to do.
Great. And what were some of the other activities besides chorus and acting? Was there anything else that lend itself to your current profession?
I don't know. I don't quite think so. I was in all the school choruses, and I was in the church choir, and I was in school performances at Brockton High School. I was in all the theater shows there, all the musicals. That was such a blast to be a part of.
I guess what I was thinking about was your organizational ability.
Oh, yes.
Because, I mean, when you think about the number of children who are involved,
yes,
how many children do you have involved now in two casts?
I think total there's 103 currently.
My goodness, 103 children. Now they're not all together at the same time.
No. One cast is on one day, and the other cast is on the other day. So they're kind of split in half-ish.
Yeah, right. But the organization and getting the word out and all of that PR that is necessary to make this a success and to invite the kids so that they come and enjoy this great program. You are a very organized person.
Thank you. I like to think I get that from my mother. She is also very organized. My mother, I always felt growing up, could do anything. There really isn't anything she hasn't been able to do, and I've always greatly admired her and looked up to her. And she was always very organized and seemed to have a handle on things, and I wanted to be like that too.
And don't you think women especially have a keener attention to details than maybe our male counterparts?
Sometimes. It depends. You know, I definitely used to very much be in that camp of thought, and I've actually met some males that give me a run for my money in terms of organization.
Well, speaking of run for your money, you told me that you had your first child in September.
I did, yes.
And that's why this gal is smiling so from ear to ear here, and that, you know, having an infant and the number of hours and attention to detail and all of the needs of that little girl that you have creates a problem with time to organize this. I'm sure that your family must have given you a helping hand. Oh
yes, no. We're very lucky. We have a great support system. My husband is incredible. He really is an amazing father and an amazing husband, and we are totally even on this team, and he does everything that I do, and we take care of the baby together. And both of our families have been very supportive and helpful throughout, whether it's buying us formula and diapers or helping to babysit or giving us time to just breathe for a minute, take a shower, go out to dinner, those things that we used to take for granted. But even though we are tired and even though we are frustrated and even though we are stressed sometimes, we couldn't be happier. We are both very much in love with our daughter, more so than I think either of us anticipated. And she's just lucky she's so darn cute.
And it sounds like you have a budding actress in the future here, too.
Oh, I hope so.
Yeah.
She definitely has a lot of facial expression. And she's very quick to express herself vocally and facially, and she makes lots of faces, so it's been lots of fun.
Yeah, I'm sure. Now, what kind of instruction do you give your students? How do you direct them, let's put it that way, when you want them to act in a certain way, to play a certain part in a certain way?
So we talk about how there's two different people. There's the actor, there's you, there's on the stage, but when you're on the stage, you're not you, you're this other person. So I try and give them as much information as I can about this other person. Their age, what they look like, how they're feeling, things that they value. And I give them as much information there. We talk about how they would walk, how they would stand, how they would feel in certain situations. And then in terms of the technical side, we always talk about talking twice as loud and half as fast, making sure that they project, making sure that they act with their faces and with their voices and with their bodies, reacting to each other. To help with all of those things, sometimes we hold competitions during rehearsals, sometimes we do acting games and theater games to help develop those skills, and they have a lot of fun.
Yeah, and I think the biggest challenge is for, especially the younger ones, to project their voices, because they talk like this, and you cannot hear them, right?
Yes, exactly.
So it must be a challenge, not just for you, but for them.
Yes, and I think the hardest part for them is learning the difference between projecting and yelling. We always talk about how we don't want them yelling and screaming, but they need to be able to project. So we talk about how to breathe, and we have someone stand at the back of the auditorium and we say, okay, say something, let's see if we can hear you. When we tell stories or jokes or say funny things, it makes them want to be heard.
Yeah, good. So you've had very good luck, and your audiences have been very appreciative. Isn't that right?
Yes. No, the audiences and the families are all absolutely incredible. They help make my job easy. I wouldn't be able to do this without the parents that are involved. We have so many parent volunteers.
Okay, tell us a little bit about that. What do parents do?
Everything. The parents are super supportive, and they volunteer and they help us. They all go on committees, so they work backstage. They help with the costumes. They run the concessions. They help with calling kids onto the stage. They hang out in the hallway and cafeteria, monitoring the children and keeping track of them. They work on the cast party. They work on fundraising and putting together the playbill. They do so much.
Do they also construct the set?
Some of them might, depending on the abilities. Some of our parents are quite talented in some ways that are extremely helpful to our program. Some are able to either construct pieces of the set, or some of them are able to find pieces that we can use for props and for the set. We have been very lucky.
And so you have an enthusiastic bunch of parents.
Yes, we do.
Okay, and it does take a village, doesn't it?
Oh, definitely. This is definitely not a one-person job.
Right. And Mary Gray, was that her name?
Yes.
Yeah, and she must have set the tone for all that. She must have set the pace.
Oh, she definitely did. She was phenomenal. I don't know how she ran the program mostly on her own. I have a board of directors that I work with, and I don't know how she did it all. She's absolutely incredible and very talented, and she was part of instilling the love of theater in me as a child, and I'm so honored and happy to be here in her footsteps, furthering on the tradition.
And the fact that she chose you she must have realized how much you had grown in the profession. And also, it takes a special person to be able to deal with children. You can be a wonderful director, but if you don't have that personality to communicate with children and have them respond to you in a positive way, you're not going to be successful. Is that right?
Yeah, no, it definitely takes a lot. My day job is I'm a teacher.
Oh, well,
so
there you go.
a lot of the skills definitely coexist in both areas of my life. And I think being the director of the theater program helps make me a better teacher, and being a teacher helps make me a better director for the program.
So what grade do you teach?
I'm currently teaching high school math. I did get my degree in elementary ed, so I have worked with younger students many times, but for the past 10 years or so, I've been doing high school math.
I see. Okay. So if you were going to invite parents and children to participate in your next production, what would you say to them to get them, to lure them in?
I would tell parents or children that are interested to please check us out on Facebook, ECT, Easton Collaborative Theatre. Please check our website, eastontheater.org. We have all kinds of information, ways for you to get involved. Come see our shows, come talk to us. We are very excited. We are actually expanding our inclusivity this show. So we happen to have a new participant this show, and her mother happens to be deaf. So we wanted to make sure that this mother has just as much access and just as much ability to observe her child and enjoy the performance and all of the fruits of her child's efforts and labors. So we are actually getting sign language interpreters for a few of our shows, and we are advertising that as well, hoping to draw in more people in the deaf community to come enjoy our performance.
Wonderful. So tell me, how much does it cost to attend?
The tickets are for sale on our website for $15.
Oh my goodness, that is a steal for a wonderful night of happiness, because Mary Poppins, that is a joy to see.
Oh, it really is. You think I'd be sick of it by now, all these rehearsals, and I enjoy it every time.
Okay, so again, we're going to put up on the screen after this interview the website so people can go there and order their tickets. Now, can they also buy tickets at the door?
They can if they're available. I would suggest getting them online ahead of time just to be sure, because I would really hate anyone to show up and then there not be a seat for them.
And when is the earliest that someone could show up to attend?
That is a great question. I think, so if the show's at 7, our doors will open at 6:30, but sometimes audience members will show up and hang out in the lobby or get concessions or work with, put in for our raffle baskets around like 6:15-ish.
Okay, so it's smart to get there, because then you'd be the first in the door and you get the pick of all the seats, right?
Well, the seats are assigned based on the tickets.
Oh, they are?
Yes.
Okay. Oh, so it's good to get to be an early bird.
Yes.
Right. And so you have concessions, and so that's another way of earning some money, and also you have raffles.
We do have raffle baskets, yes.
That's wonderful. Great. So there's a little bit of extra fun for everyone.
Oh, yes.
Okay.
The kids, especially in the audience, love putting in for the raffles.
Yeah. And so when people leave, what do they say to you? The people who are attending, the mothers, the fathers, the grandparents. I bet you have a lot of those.
Oh, yes, definitely. The most common thing I get told is that I did a great job, which I think is quite funny, because I don't feel like I do much, especially on the show days. And it really is the kids that are doing the great job. They say that they are awed by the talent and how well put together the show is, how great the kids are. They can't believe some of, their nieces, nephews, grandchildren, children, and how they performed. I didn't know they had that in them.
Okay, but the reason they had it in them is because you are the director, and you're helping them to become the very best they can be.
I certainly try.
Yes, you try very well. And so what's on the horizon? Now, we have Mary Poppins, April 25th.
6th, 7th, and 8th.
26th, Friday, 27th, Saturday, 28th, Sunday.
Correct.
Okay. And so, but your website where you get your tickets is what's
EastonTheater.org.
That's easy. EastonTheater.org. I think we all can remember that. Is theater spelled T-E-R or T-R-E?
R-E.
R-E.
Yes.
Okay.
Theatre.
That is the fancy way. So you got to spell it right. T-H-E-A-T-R-E, not E-R.
Correct.
Okay. So get your tickets and get them early. So what is the next production? Have you made a decision?
I have not made a decision. We'll do another production in the fall. Auditions will be held at the beginning, middle-ish of September, but we have not decided what show we're doing yet.
Do you ever ask the children to recommend shows?
I honestly don't have to. They recommend shows of their own will all the time. Let's do this show, let's do that show. And they have a bunch of shows that they're always very excited about, but no matter what we pick, it seems that they all get on board and they all get very excited, and we'll never run out. You know, we'll always have shows we can keep doing.
That's wonderful. Now, on a personal note, how do you find time for all this? A new child, but you have all this family support, including
I'm very lucky.
Your great husband. So, but being a teacher, and especially a math teacher, you're correcting a lot of exams, you're doing lesson plans, you're going to teachers' meetings.
Yes.
You probably are asked to be on a lot of committees at school. So how do you fit all this in? You must be a very well organized woman.
Sometimes I am, sometimes not so much, but it is hard, and I do get tired, but I'm very lucky in that I love what I do, and it helps make it worth it, all the extra time and the effort and the lack of sleep. You know, I love my family, I love my teaching job, and I love my directing job, so it works out.
It sure does. And you give such a gift to all these children. The way you exclaim about Mary Gray and how you adored her and the respect you give her is certainly going to be your inheritance, your legacy too. And they're going to be, these little kids will be grown up, and who knows how long you're going to be doing this, right?
Right, yeah, I'm not sure. I don't see an end yet. I'm hanging in there for the long haul.
And there's so much that you've learned. You know, it's not just in front of the audience, it's behind the scenes, and all the little nitpicky little details that have to be thought of and assigned and checked on. Be sure that they get done. So good luck.
Thank you so much.
You seem to be the right person at the right time in the right job, and we commend you. Liana Gorman, thank you so much for being my guest today, and good luck to you in the future, and especially on the 26th, 27th, and 28th of April, coming up shortly. Go to Easton Theatre, Theatre.org, and get your tickets, $15. What a steal, and what pleasure you're going to receive. And even if they're not your own kids, go, because I know that I always love to see children perform, and I get a big chuckle. Doesn't have to be my kids, doesn't have to be my grandkids, all right? And I'm sure there are many of you out there who feel the same way. So thank you, Liana Gorman, for joining me today, and best of luck in the future on Easton Collaborative Theatre. And to you who have been enjoying this interview, be sure that you order your tickets online at eastontheatre.org and come and enjoy a wonderful evening or afternoon of terrific theater. You will not be disappointed. Thank you for watching. Priscilla Almquist-Olsen bidding you farewell. Until next time, be well.
Community Forum is sponsored by the Easton Grange 196 and a friend of Yardley Wood Rink and the Easton Lions Club.